Now it's time to talk about after fader listen. All of our outputs are set up to be AFL, so when we press a PFL button for an output, it's going to grab a copy of that audio after it goes past the fader. So these faders right here. So what does this mean? This means that for an output, since it's AFL after the fader, we're going to be able to hear exactly what is being sent to wherever that output is going. So it's very useful for outputs to be AFL. Another thing to keep in mind though is when you PFL, whether an input or an output, it's going to go to the headset, but if it's coming from an output, the fader will affect the volume that you hear in your headset. Okay, so an output, it's after fader, which means the fader, the mute button, it will affect what you hear in the headset. But for an input, if you PFL an input, then that audio will not be affected, like what you hear in the headphones will not be affected by the fader, right? Because it's grabbing that audio before it goes through the fader, before it goes through the mute. So you can mute, unmute, move the fader, it won't affect what you hear in the headset. So just keep that in mind when you're PFLing an input and output. Inputs, none of that's going to have any effect on the audio in the headset. On the outputs, it most definitely will.